what's up? Welcome back. Welcome back to another Earnings Lottos Power Hour Live. I'm your host, Pete. Today is Tuesday, April 28th. As you know, for the next almost hour or so, we'll be using earningslottos.com to find the best earnings movers that report tonight and tomorrow morning. Please remember to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It lets me know that you like this content, and more importantly, it is working for you. We have a ton of stocks to look at for today. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this morning and yesterday afternoon, obviously we had a ton of 10% or good high EL score stocks reporting. So Spotify made a 10% plus move. Commvault made a 10% plus move. Those two had really nice EL scores. UPS chopped like we thought, and then some that reported yesterday afternoon were really good movers for today. So Celestica was good if you had puts, Rambus was really good if you had puts, Sanmina was really good if you had calls. All of those we talked about yesterday, and we identified them as being consistent earnings movers. So good for out of the money options strangles. Let's first get into the ones that report this afternoon. I am going to go pretty quick. So if anyone has any questions, want me to look into something in unusual whales a little further, let me know. Just throw it in the chat and I will definitely get to it. First one that we have today is Teradyne. Teradyne is actually one of the high EL score stocks that we have for the week. So if you like playing just the best possible setups, Teradyne is a good option for you. Let's check out the narrative intel. So first of all, the share price, $383 per share. That's a really nice stock price. That gives it about a $40 move in either direction. Really good EL score. That has to do with its consistent history of moves over 10%. So for the last 5 quarters, it has made a 10% move up or down over the last 2 years. Narrative intel is good for Teradyne. This is a tech stock. So anything in tech right now, semiconductor related, memory chips adjacent. Rambus is a really big memory chip maker, and they went red after ER, so I don't know if there's any correlation there. But narrative intel is really good for Teradyne. If AI chip test volume is confirmed, if AI drives 70% of revenue as guided, re-rates as AI infrastructure picks and shovels. So looks like good fundamentals. It looks like if Teradyne comes out in their earnings report and says AI is driving 70% of their revenue, as they said last quarter, then seems like it's going to be pretty good news for the stock. Strangles that we're finding for Teradyne, pretty far out of the money on either side. The 480 calls, 25% out of the money up. That expires on Friday. Good volume and decent open interest, but I always like to see more volume than open interest, so that is nice to see. Pretty cheap contract though, so $1.32 is very, very, very cheap. That kind of makes me think there's a bit of it that's bought and a bit that's sold. The 300p is also getting attention on the downside. $1.85 is the last price traded. Volume does not exceed open interest, but that's okay because it's about pretty much the same. So there's good activity in Teradyne. Just glancing at these without knowing the amount of moves over 10% TER is made, I'd probably guess that this is a choppy move for TER. Both of these could be sold. They could be in sold territory. But I do think it's worth looking into TER just a little bit more in detail a little later. So we'll do that. I don't really have an opinion for TER right now, but we'll look at the flow and unusual whales. Enphase is our second, also a really high EL score for this week, so 76 is really nice. $34 a share price. I think Enphase popped. I think it went crazy last quarter, if anyone remembers that. But I want to say it was maybe like a 20, 30. It was a really, really impressive move. 6 out of the last 8 quarters, it has made a 10% move up or down. Narrative intel is hot for Enphase. This is a big solar energy. They do a lot of like micro inverters and that kind of thing, battery storage. They don't really do, or I don't think they do. I used to work in solar. I don't think they do panels. I think they're more in just kind of like the inverter land. But either way, Enphase is a very well-known name in solar, and they are used in a lot of residential solar applications. Residential solar demand trough read, guidance raises the re-rate signal. Further cuts would confirm multi-quarter headwinds, typically moves about 8 to 15%, violent two-way on guidance. So Enphase is a good mover, both up or down historically. Strangles that we're finding for Enphase, we have the 40 call, 15% out of the money up. A lot of open interest on there. Some decent volume for today, $1.44. 30p, 13% out of the money down, $1.24, about the same, almost the same exact setup. This reminds me this looks just like tear or tur. So end phase, I don't really have an opinion for quite yet. It looks choppy, but that's just based off of the strangles I'm finding. We'll maybe look at that a little later. I don't like the fact that it's the $30 stock. There's so many other stocks that report today and tomorrow that are above 50 and have good history of moves. So I'm probably going to fade end phase. It looks choppy to me just off the rip, but it does surprise. Porch, we'll go over Porch because it is a high EL score. It's one of the high EL scores this week, under 25 bucks a share. So we'll check it out, even though it does have this binary, this caution sign for the narrative. Really, really cheap share price, $8, $8.46. So a 10% move is like 84, 85 cents up or down. Good history of moves over 10%. So this reminds me of Lending Club. Lending Club reported yesterday, and I think Lending Club chopped, which is really sad, kind of unfortunate. But Lending Club was up in after hours trading, and then I think I just checked it and it was chopping, so that sucks. But Porch reminds me of that. Let's see what the strangles we're finding. 10 call, really cheap contracts. The 5P is the other one that's getting attention on the downside. The 5P to me looks like a classic sold position. These contracts are way too cheap. The 5P is 40% out of the money down, and there's a lot of volume and open interest. So to me, this looks like a sold position. The 10 call probably bought, but I would fade Porch. I would go as close to the money as you can, but calls look like they're going to work there. LRN, we'll look at Stride. So Stride is an online American education company. They do like online tutoring and virtual charter school kind of stuff. It has LRN. Stride has made some really crazy earnings moves already. I think it's only reported maybe a handful of times, but I don't think it was last quarter. It might have been the quarter before or the quarter previous to that, but either or in the past, probably a half year or so, LRN made like a 30 or 40% down move, which was really crazy. So just something to note there. It does have the potential, and I think it's because it has a really, really small float. Yeah, 41 million shares in the float, so it's easier for that stock to move up and down in price. 4 quarters, it has made a 10% move out of the last 2 years, so that's pretty decent. $92 a share, so you're looking at like a $9, maybe a $10 move up or down. Narrative intel is not great. We're not getting a lot of good bullish information here. Virtual K-12 education, online schooling. Virtual education compounder, adult career learning is the growth vector, typically moves 4 to 6%. Nothing really exciting or interesting about that. The strangles that we're finding, the 120 call, 29% out of the money up, 96 cents. That screams sold to me. The 90 put is getting more attention. 565 a contract, expiring on May 15th. So that gives you an OPEX or a monthly operation or expiration there. Volume 155, open interest was 629. So to me, LRN is probably a down move. I wish the volume on this 90 call was exceeding open interest. That would make me a little bit more interested to trade it. I think based on what I'm seeing here, I'll probably fade it. I do like the EL score. It's over 60. I would say downside is probably the better bet here, but yeah, I don't know. I think if this volume number was much bigger, then I would feel more confident about getting it. But if you had conviction in trading Stride beforehand, and you let's say for example you were thinking downside, I think this reinforces your thought process. So LRN looks down to me. I just don't know if it'll get a crazy down move. F5 we'll look at next. So F5, tech stock, market leader in the application delivery controller market. $300 a share. Decent or good EL score. It's over 50, which we like. 3 quarters, it's made a 10% move in the last 2 years. Good, not great. We're looking at like a $30 move in either direction. Let's see, narrative intel. I guess we don't have narrative intel for F5. That's okay. Strangles that we're finding for F5, 310 call. Really expensive contract here. Really close to the money. I would say these are probably bought. Volume not exceeding open interest, but that's okay. These are definitely bought to me. 270p, 10% out of the money down. Also a pricey contract. I'd say these are bought too. So this to me looks like a classic strangle. There might be a move in F5. Not quite sure. Maybe we'll look at that in unusual whales, so we'll put a pin in it. So I like F5 for unusual whales. We'll look at tear or tur so far. But I don't really have an opinion on F5. It looks like both of those sides are bought. Bloom Energy, BE. This is Wall Street loves this stock. They have been trading it up and down for like the past, I don't know, however many months. I see flow all the time in BE. So Wall Street really likes this stock for one reason or another. Almost $230 a share, good EL score over 50. Not the best history of moves over 10%, so take that as you will. Narrative Intel is hot on Bloom. It is a data center adjacent play. So even though it doesn't directly, like they're not directly involved in data centers, energy. It's similar to URI, right? Like URI is used in rental construction, a lot of construction happening in data centers. Data centers obviously require a lot of energy to power. So Bloom Energy is important in that regard. AI data center on-site power generation, same theme as GE Vernova. Vernova popped last week. That went crazy. But fuel cell technology, revenue acceleration confirms DC power constraint is driving distributed generation, typically moves almost 12%. All that sounds pretty cool to me. The strangle that we are finding, though, the 297.50 call is 30% out of the money up. It expires on Friday. It's pretty cheap, way more volume than open interest. I think a lot of these look sold. The 190p, I just think 30% out of the money up is a little too ambitious. Especially on a stock that hasn't consistently proven it can make those 10% moves. 190p is coming up on the short side. Really nice volume over open interest. Pricey contract. This to me looks like a strangle to the downside. So I think BE looks down. I don't know if it'll hit this 190. That's interesting. The 190 is 17% out of the money down, and it is 446 a contract. So that is juice. And as you can see, the IV reflects that. So implied volatility for the 190p is 221. That's jacked up. I will say that the Intel strangle last week, the IV on those was also in the 200% range, and so as a result, I faded. And we all know how that panned out. But I think BE looks downside. I just don't know if it'll hit that 190 area. I don't know if it'll get the 10%. We'll look at Varonis. I don't know anything about VRNS or Varonis Systems. Apparently it's a tech stock, cybersecurity vendor. Cybersecurity stocks have been taking real big hits lately with all of Claude's new stuff that they're coming out with. It hurts PanW, it hurts CrowdStrike, it's hurting Okta. I think Okta is a cybersecurity, or Fortinet. So interesting, the correlation noted there. Narrative Intel for VRNS or Varonis is a sleeper re-rate. Doesn't look like they're expecting good fundamentals. It looks like they're estimating 32%, 32 cents, negative 32 cents EPS. Software as a service, data security, software as a AI data government, cybersecurity, AI data security, software as a service, ARR acceleration re-rates. Any guide down drops hard. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. Typically moves 8 to 12%. Everything I'm reading there seems bearish. That doesn't sound good. 30 call, 17% out of the money up, 85 cents. Volume exceeds open interest. Hard to say what's going on there. Maybe a mix of bought and sold. 22.50 on the downside getting attention. A lot of volume over open interest. 2,700 contracts over 880. $1.25 per. IV isn't too jacked up. I kind of like the downside for Varonis. I want to look at this one a little later in Unusual Whales. It is below 50 EL score, but just by 1 point. And I like the fact that it has 4 moves out of 8. So I want to look at Varonis a little later. I'm going to go fast. I'm going to fade Neighbors. I won't look at Rush Street. OI Glass. I don't want to look at too cheap. Let's look at Hood. If I skip one that you guys wanted to look at, we'll definitely check out Wing. EME. Do I have EME in my list? I don't know if I have EME, but we'll check. Robinhood. Everyone knows Robinhood. Finance stock. I'd actually classify it as a tech stock, but whatever. So yeah, financial stock. $82 a share. $8 move in either direction. So maybe it hits 90, 91. 3 moves over 10% in the last 2 years. That is decent, but not great. It's also not awful. 35 EL score is meh. I don't like that. I'm sure the float has something to do with the EL score. Narrative Intel for Hood is hot. Everyone that I know uses Hood. I don't use Hood. I don't like Robinhood at all. I use Schwab personally. I won't touch Robinhood. Uh, Fundamentals look really good. They're expecting 26% year over year growth. Transaction revenue is increasing, it looks like. Uh, Crypto transactions is not good. They're going to have bad crypto transaction numbers, it looks like. Yeah, obviously, Bitcoin sold off in Q1. So that's all interesting. Looks like their retail trading is going well, but their crypto revenue is not great. Gold subscriber growth is the recurring revenue signal. Typically moves 6 to 10%. If you know anyone that subscribed for Robinhood Gold over the past maybe 2 months, then buy calls. Otherwise, I'm gonna fade Hood. I don't like trading it, and nothing that I'm seeing like the 90 calls getting attention. Ton of volume over open interest. Oh, actually, no, not really. Just a ton of volume and a ton of open interest. 15,000 contracts on both of those. $1.44 contract. That's a great lotto price. 90 call, less than 10% out of the money up. 82p is the other one that's getting activity, and this one definitely looks bought. So 351 a contract was the last price traded. This is the one that has tons of volume over open interest. So 6,000 contracts over about 2,300 that were sitting on the chain. I think Robinhood looks down. It looks to me like they are buying the 82 and probably buying the 90 as well, just for that classic strangle in case it does go up. With something that has a 3 out of 8, if it's the EL score is less than 50, I always say buy one side. To me, Hood looks down, so I would buy one side, but I'm going to fade it personally. NXPI, let's look at NXPI because it is a hot semiconductor stock. It doesn't have any moves over 10% in the last 2 years, but that doesn't mean that it can't make its first this afternoon. $230 a share, about 231, so a $24 move up or down. Not the greatest EL score. Narrative Intel is hot, semiconductors, and that whole sector has been a hot theme for this quarter so far. Looks like they do more automotive semiconductors, which is interesting. Auto semiconductor tariff and China exposure read confirms or extends industrial demand signals. China revenue commentary is the key risk watch. Typically moves 5 to 8%. So it looks like they're more so in like automotive semiconductors, which are obviously used more in Chinese vehicles because they have more EVs than we have. 240 call is the call side popping up, 4% out of the money, pricey contract, volume not exceeding open interest. Meh. 220p is the downside, 4% out of the money, same kind of thing, $6 a contract. Volume is exceeding open interest here, so I would say this is a classic fade. I would not trade NXPI, but for what it's worth, it does look like the put side is favored a little bit more. I wonder if we open red tomorrow morning, just market as a whole. Kind of seems like that. Simo, let's look at this one really quick. Although it has no moves over 10% in the last 2 years. Share price is good, $150 a share. Expected move is pretty interesting. EL score is not really good on Simo. Narrative Intel is pretty good on Simo. I like the sleepers myself. Looks like there is whatever NAND flash demand recovery read. Maybe they're into flash controllers. Do they do memory, maybe memory chips, that kind of thing? SSDs. They make flash controller chips for SSDs. Which is interesting. I don't know. Then flash demand 80% year over year is a destocking reversal signal for the broader storage supply chain. Small float equals a violent gap on surprise. Typically moves 8 to 12%. 170 call is getting the attention on the upside. 14% out of the money up. $5.80 was the last price traded. Good volume over open interest. This again shows immediacy. This is the same kind of setup that SanM had yesterday on the call side. Very little open interest and it was a very impressive volume number. Put side 135p is getting attention. Good volume. What did I do? Good volume over open interest there. Same kind of setup. This to me looks like they're both bought. I'd probably fade Simo, but it does look like people are positioning and they're paying non-lotto prices. That being said, these both expire May 15th, so those traders definitely have time. I'd probably fade Simo. Hard to say exactly which side looks better just because both these contracts are pretty similar. Just because the put side has more volume and it's closer to the money, I would guess downside for Simo. STX 584 Seagate technology. They do a lot of data storage and SSD stuff, similar to Western Digital. Also kind of similar to Micron a little bit. $5.84 share price. You're looking at like a 58, almost a $60 move up or down. 3 out of the last 8 quarters, it's made a 10% move. So meh, kind of okay. Not really a must play, but not really a total fade. Narrative Intel is hot for Seagate. All of those hard disk drives, SSD companies have been doing really well, very bullish. What was the one that reported the other day that did well? Texas Instruments. So same kind of thing, same sector. AI data center mass storage read, nearline HDD hard drive exabyte demand confirms hyperscaler build out is accelerating beyond GPU compute to storage layer. Typically moves almost 10%. Strangles for STX. We have the 650 call, 12% out of the money up. Pricey contracts, 507 volume to 953 open interest. These are probably purchased. They're probably bought. The 500p is getting more volume than open interest, 550 for that contract, so pricey again, almost 14% out of the money down. Both of these look bought to me. This is kind of the theme for a lot of them today. A lot of them could be just completely bought strangles, which to me, I don't think I would do a strangle on STX. It doesn't have a consistent history of moves over 10%, but that's just me. So I don't know. A lot of these are looking like they're bought both ways, which really doesn't give us a clear read. But just because the put side had volume exceeding open interest there, I'd say probably STX down too. MX, let's fade. Caesars fade. CoStar. I can't stand CoStar. Fade. Waste Management, hot narrative intel, but no moves over 10% in the last 2 years. I feel like this is one that kind of lures traders in every quarter, and I don't understand why. It just doesn't make good moves. I think I traded it a couple of years ago and did well on it, but not interested in Waste Management. Narrative intel is good. Defensive infrastructure compounder. RNG revenue growth is the re-rate catalyst, 4-quarter beat streak. So they've been beating for the past 4 quarters. That's bullish. 240 call popping up, $1.55 last price traded. Volume does not exceed open interest at all. 220p, closer to the money. 330 a contract last price traded. Both the 240 could be bought, could be sold. The 220 definitely looks bought to me, but I would fade Waste Management. It does look like the downside's favored more there. Let's look at TMUS. Let's look at T-Mobile. T-Mobile, obviously, communication services. If you want to look at a comparison, Charter Communications reported on Friday last week and tanked. Yo, Briffo. All right, man. Thanks for joining, Briffo. Appreciate it. LRN, Lotto spread. Let's bang it. TMUS, good share price, $185 a share. So you're looking at like maybe a $20 move in either direction. Kind of a poor EL score for TMUS. It doesn't have a consistent history of 10% moves on earnings report. But as you can see for the narrative intel, for the last four out of 4 quarters, it has beat. It's still estimating pretty decent year-over-year growth, so 9.5% year-over-year growth, it looks like. Wireless subscriber bellwether FWA net adds are the disruptive signal against Charter or Comcast. It has beat for the last 4 quarters, typically moves 3 to 5%. So it's typically a small move for TMUS. I think someone was talking about TMUS a little earlier. Yeah, all right, Briffo. I know you just left, but I'm talking you out of those lottos. Don't do it. Don't do TMUS. 190 call popping up on the call side. Close to the money. Pricey contract, $3 a contract, 655 volume over open interest. They're probably bought. You're probably on the right, probably thinking about the right direction there because it probably is up. But I don't know. That 220 is just really, really ambitious for a stock that hasn't made a 10% move in 8 quarters. 180p on the downside, 250 a contract. That's kind of bought territory too. Volume is good over open interest, 620 contracts bought and sold today versus 164 that were waiting on the chain. Both of those look bought to me. I don't know, same theme as today. All these contracts look very similar on either side. And I don't like that because I can't determine direction. It's not easy. So TMUS, just because I think volume exceeding open interest here, I'd say, well, let's go with the 190 call. So I think TMUS up, and we'll say just because this contract is is pricier than the 180p. But I would fade TMUS. It doesn't look like a big move. Is that all of them for this afternoon? Did I miss anything? EXE, didn't someone say EXE or did we say EME? I think X Project Group. EME? Do I have EME on here? EXE, let's fade, no moves. Welltower fade. None of these have moves. Let's look at Starbucks. Everyone knows Starbucks. Starbucks, coffee company, consumer cyclical stock, almost $100 a share, $96 right now. So we're looking at maybe a $9, $9.70 move either way, up or down. Only one quarter in the last 2 years it has done a 10% move. Not great. I think it has a pretty big float. Yeah, 1.1 billion shares. That is pretty big, so hard to move the share price when you have that many shares. Hot narrative intel on Starbucks. I couldn't tell you why. I don't go to Starbucks at all. I don't understand why you would, but every time I pass it, I see people at it. So people still slurping it down. Good fundamentals. Looks like, yeah, first positive comp since Q2 2022, driven by 3% transaction growth, not pricing. So it does look like they're expecting good revenue or positive revenue. So if you wanted to short Starbucks, then I would probably suggest against it. I probably wouldn't trade Starbucks at all for earnings because it doesn't have a consistent 10% move history, but that's just me. Turnaround inflection test. Q2 comps either confirm Q1 momentum or show one quarter wonder. So it typically moves 6 to 10%. So it looks like they had some good numbers last quarter. And if they don't see the same sort of progress on these numbers, then we are looking at some downside. 97 call getting attention on the upside. Lots of volume over open interest. Contract price 320 tells me they're probably purchased. They're probably bought. And it's very, very close to the current share price, very close to at the money. 93p. And look, the IV is not as high as you would expect it to be. So that is interesting to me. 93p, getting attention on the downside. $1.46 last price traded. Tons of volume over open interest. So almost 4,500 contracts over 767. This is really hard to tell. Like, again, like the theme for today, very hard to tell what's going on here. I kind of like the fact that the IV is low here. So if you had conviction in one side on Starbucks before hanging out and watching the stream, you might be onto something, because I do think that the IV is low enough to where the contracts could work. But I don't like the fact that they're so close to the money here. This kind of implies to me that there could be a choppy move. So for that, I am out of Starbucks. But if I had to guess, I'd say call side, just because this contract is a little bit more expensive. First Energy, I want to fade. I don't like anything else for this afternoon. If you guys want to, I think someone said FICO. Didn't someone say FICO? X Project Group. Let's look at FICO really quick. I don't know anything about FICO. Leading applied analytics company, so tech stock. Fair Isaac, primarily known for its FICO credit scores. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, why are they a tech stock? If they that's where I know FICO from, credit score stuff. U.S. centric credit score business. How are they a tech stock if they're into credit score? Shouldn't they be finance? That's weird. Beat 4 out of the last 4 quarters. Looks like their revenue. Looks like they're expecting good numbers, 25% plus year over year. 2-segment model, so scores, so they have like the credit scores kind of stuff, mortgage and auto credit pulls, and they do software, which I don't understand. Software as a service decisioning? I don't know what that means. Credit scoring, mortgage, auto, BTB, business to business, software as a sales or service. Mortgage, credit pull, pricing power, any volume acceleration on True AM flows directly to FICO score fees. Beat 4 out of the 4 quarters, typically moves almost 9%. Is that 5 to 9, 5 to 8? Don't know. 1250 call, getting the attention on the call side. 22% out of the money up. Expires May 15th, so you got time there. Pricey contract. These are probably bought, although there's not a lot of volume there. 880 put on the downside. 13% out of the money, so obviously closer to 22%. And man, these contracts are expensive. $18 last price traded there. Volume does exceed open interest though, so I think, to me, this looks bought on the put side, probably bought on the call side too, but the 880p looks a little bit better there for FICO, although I would suggest fading it. All right, that's all we have for this afternoon. Let's look at things tomorrow morning. I think we're making okay time, but I'm going to go really fast. So Wingstop, everyone knows Wingstop, chicken wings, 175 a share price, really good high EL score. This is the highest EL score for the week. So if you wanted to trade just one stock this week on earnings, Wing is your baby. 6 quarters, it has made a 10% move in the last 2 years. It has a good expected move. It also has a really small float, so 26 million share float, which means Wing can move pretty well up and down. 4 out of the last 4 quarters, we've gotten a Wing beat. People still love chicken wings. I love chicken wings. 9% year-over-year growth looks like is expected. Digital ordering is driving over 70% of their sales. That's crazy. Domestic AEV and international unit expansion. I do know Wingstop is expanding internationally, so that's cool. Chicken wing commodity cost is the input risk. I don't know why that's funny to me. Chicken wing commodity cost. Fast casual digital compounder, domestics, SSS, and international unit growth are the re-rate signals. So I think if they come out and say something about the fact that they're expanding internationally like crazy, maybe that'll be a good bullish catalyst. 210 call for Wing getting the attention, going up, expiring on May 15th, so we got time. 12.55 volume over open interest. That's good. The $5 last price traded tells me that the 210s are probably purchased. 140p on the downside. $3 last price traded there. Decent volume over open interest. 1,000 contracts versus 355. Both of these are probably bought. I think that makes sense. I think it always makes sense to strangle a high EL score stock, especially one that has made 6 moves over 10%. So Wing, to me, I like both of these contracts. I like these sides. I would want to get closer to the money. I think 20% out of the money is a little too ambitious. If there's a 205 or maybe a 200, obviously they're going to cost more. Let's look at Wing and Unusual Whales in a little bit though. But I think upside looks better there. But I would strangle Wing for sure. 100% strangle it. Avis, Car. So Car, this stock has been going crazy, very parabolic in the last week or so. Very, very short, small share float, which is probably why it has been going crazy up and down. I think it was halted last Friday. Current share price, 183 share. So you're looking at maybe a $20 move up or down. 5 quarters, it's made a 10% move up or down. Really high EL score. So we're looking at one of the highest EL score stocks for the week. Wing and Car are both on that list. Narrative Intel is not great for. Look, this was the move. It was $714 on April 21st, and then today it's at 182. That's actually insane. That's actually crazy. A 500, 600, a 500. We'll just say five or six. Almost a $600 drop in a week is wild. Car or Avis, Narrative Intel is not great. Car rental tariff binary, tariff-driven fleet cost versus rental demand increases two-way. High debt amplifies miss. Apparently, Avis has a lot of debt. Typically moves 6 to 10%. They are anticipating decent numbers, though. It looks like plus 2.9% year-over-year growth. Strangles for Car. We got the 250 call coming in, 38% out of the money up. $1.90 last price traded. Almost 1,200 contracts traded, over almost 1,000 that were on the open interest. This is classic sold to me. These are sold for sure. We can look at it in a second, but I think the 250 call is sold here. 150p getting attention on the downside. Both of these expire on Friday. $3 a contract, so a little pricier. That tells me they're probably in purchased or bought territory. 2,600 contracts traded versus 5,800 that were on the chain before today. I would say the downside looks better on Car. I don't know if it has a 10%. I don't know if it'll hit 150. I think it's worth looking into that one a little bit more, but I think the downside on Car looks more appealing. Garmin, GPS enabled, like GPS things, right? Like they do watches, they do some golf, rangefinder stuff, but more like an outdoor, automotive, aviation. It looks like submarine stuff, I guess. 250, almost $250 a share price, so $25 move up or down. Good EL score. 4 quarters, it's made a 10% move in the last 2 years. Narrative Intel is interesting for Garmin. 4 out of the last 4 quarters, it has produced a beat. They're estimating a 12% year-over-year growth right now. Looks like diversified hardware compounder with tariff-resilient manufacturing, aviation, and marine are the margin read. Beat 4 out of the 4 last quarters. Typically moves 6%, almost 6%. We might have to short Garmin. This like screams downside to me. But 310 call, 25% out of the money up, very cheap contract, ton of volume, ton of open interest. This looks sold to me, classic sold. 240p, much closer to the current share price, so 3.5, almost 3.5% down. Very pricey per contract though, as you can see, $7.60 was the last price traded. So one contract is $760. Volume slightly exceeding open interest. Garmin looks down to me. I don't know. The 240 looks like the safe play, obviously, if you bet down. Maybe we'll look at this in unusual whales. I kind of want to fade it, but I think the downside to Garmin, I'm just not sure if it gets a huge 10% move. Let's look at Eat or Brinker. They do Chili's and Maggiano's. I think they do a couple other restaurants too. Doesn't really say right here, but yeah, Chili's and Maggiano's are the biggest, obviously. $130 a share price, 57 EL score, pretty good. 3/4, it's made a 10% move in the last 2 years. Looks like they are estimating decent numbers, so plus 4% year-over-year growth. The Chili's 3 for Me value meal is driving traffic and comp sales recovery amid consumer trade down from full service restaurants. And I don't know why some of these are funny to me, but they just sound funny when I read them out loud. Consumer trade down, casual dining re-rate. Chili's value positioning is capturing Darden and full service traffic. Darden, DRI, right? Aren't they DRI? I think they're DRI. That's their stock. Or tickers. Typically moves 5 to almost 9%. Strangles for Eat. We have the 145 call, 12% out of the money up, 320 last contract traded. Good volume over open interest. This looks bought to me. 110 put, getting the attention on the downside, $1.45. Last price traded there. 313 contracts traded today, bought and sold over 44 on the chain. Hard to say, might be a classic strangle, bought strangle. The 110p could be a combination of bought and sold. I don't think you have to strangle Eat. I think this is one you can just go one side. And if I had to pick one side, I'd say call side. I would go close to the money as you can afford. But I'm going to fade Eat, although I do think the call side looks better there. Lemonade. I think Lemonade made a really impressive earnings move recently. I don't know why I kind of lump it in the same category as Enphase, even though they're completely different. But Lemonade Financial, they do more insurance kind of stuff. Share price $66 a share, good EL score, 4/4. It's made a 10% move in the last 2 years. Good expected move here. Keep in mind a $65 share price, a 10% move is maybe $6.50 either way, almost $7. Looks like they're expecting really good numbers, so plus 68% estimated year-over-year growth. AI native insurance, driven by Metro Mile auto integration and homeowners expansion. So maybe they're expanding. Yeah, that's it. I think they do more like auto insurance, but maybe they're expanding into homeowner insurance, which is interesting. Lemonade re-rates toward profitability, beat 3 out of the last 4/4, so not 4 out of 4, but not bad. AI underwriting profitability path, loss ratio improvement is the single metric here. Below 75% loss ratio re-rates, typically moves 8 to 12%. 85 call, getting the attention on the upside. Cheap contracts, I don't like either of these. This screams chop to me. 85 call is 30% out of the money up. It expires on Friday. IV is pretty high. Very cheap contract. Good volume over open interest, but this is too cheap. This 40 cents is too cheap. 54p, almost 20% out of the money down. 79 cents a contract. 357 over volume over open interest. I don't like any of that. Nothing there kind of interests me. They could both be sold, to be completely honest, and Lemonade makes kind of a choppy move. Some of these are really hard to figure out for today. I think I'm only interested in Wing and not car, probably just Wing. And we only have 15 minutes or so I got to go fast so we can look at that in unusual whales. I could actually place something. Let's skip some. We looked at Lemonade. We looked at Eat. Why is Sanmina here twice? What am I doing? Generac. I know people like trading Humana. I don't like trading Hum, but we'll look at it. Healthcare, big healthcare stock. It's one of the largest private health insurers in the U.S. Narrative Intel is hot for Hum. Stock is down 26% year to date. Looks like they're expecting pretty good numbers, so 23% year-over-year growth. Most levered MCR turnaround binary of the week. It's down 26% year to date, means any positive MCR signal is violent to the upside. Violent. Violent. I have not been checking chat. I'm so sorry. What up, Court? Car. I think I like Lemonade as a trade better than Car, personally. Yeah, Learn could be good. Wing. Yeah, I like Wing. All right, Learn. All right, let me get back to this so we can look at unusual wills in a second. But Hum or Humana called popping up. Good volume over open interest. This is kind of the strangles that we're finding is matching the narrative intel almost exactly. 250 call, less than 10% out of the money up. 310 last contract traded. Good volume over open interest. These are probably bought. 200p is getting attention on the downside. $1.55 last price traded. Good volume over open interest. Probably a mixture of bought and sold on the 200p here, but I do like the Hum upside. 250 call is probably good, but I would go as close to the money as you can afford, just because it does not have a consistent 10% move history. But I like that narrative intel for Hum. I think if they have some good numbers, then that thing is going to pop. Generac, I don't want to talk about. Etsy, we'll look at really quick. Etsy, everyone knows Etsy, online marketplace, kind of similar to eBay, but not really, more hobbyist kind of stuff. $63 a share, $6 move either way. EL score under 50, but that's okay. 3 quarters, it has made a 10% move in the last 2 years. Narrative intel is decent. It's pretty good for Etsy. Consumer discretionary e-commerce, tariff trade down from mass retail to unique domestic goods is the unexpected tailwind. GMS trend is the metric. Typically moves almost 7%. eBay also reports this week, so keep that in mind. Good correlation there. 65 call getting attention to the upside. 2% out of the money up. Nice price, not pricey, but a nice priced contract to kind of imply to me that they're bought. 1303 volume to 1700 open interest. And the downside, 55p, 13% out of the money down. Much cheaper contract, 70 cents. About 70 cents was the last price traded. Volume exceeding open interest. The 55p looks sold here for sure. So I think the upside to Etsy looks pretty good. But not enough moves over 10% for me to auto trade it. Vita Coco, I would just guess based on the strangle here. I guess calls for Vita Coco, but don't really care about that one. It's killing me having San M there twice. Scott's Miracle Grow, no. Oatly, no. Janko, okay. DK Teva. General Dynamics. See, all of these, none of these really make consistent 10% moves, so I'm not really interested in looking at them. We'll look at Teva, though. Teva Pharmaceutical, based in Israel. Healthcare company, about $32 a share. 25 EL score, so not really great. 3 quarters, it's made a 10% move up or down in the last 2 years. It's beat 3 out of the last 4 quarters. It looks like kind of inline numbers are estimated, so like 0.7% year-over-year growth. Generic turnaround compounder, run rate and debt reduction trajectory are the signals here. Teva, let's see, the strangles that we're finding, the 32.50 call, $1.30, a lot of volume over open interest. 29.50 on the downside. Teva looks like calls. It looks like calls to the upside for sure. I would imagine a lot of these 29.50 are probably sold, but that's a ton of volume over open interest, 10,000 contracts traded. But I think Teva is probably a safe fade. Bib, no, I don't want to look at Yum. No, I don't care. AIF, GHC, Stanley, Black & Decker, Cognizant, ADP, AstraZeneca, Sundial, too cheap. Reagan, I'm kind of interested. So Reagan, I think I said last week, URI. I wanted the days back of URI where it just made crazy earnings move. The other one that reminds me of the URI days is Reagan. Reagan or Regeneron used to make crazy moves all the time too. And it really hasn't done that in a while. So I want to look at it really quick. And then we'll have 10 minutes for unusual whale stuff and to place some trades. Share price is good for Reagan or Regeneron, $7.30 a share price, so $75 move either way. Really bad EL score has to do with the fact that it's only made a 10% move once in the last 2 years. Pretty good history of beating fundamentally though, and it looks like they are expecting 12.5% year-over-year growth. They do Dupixent, that is their growth engine. Dupixent do the eczema? I think it's the eczema thing. Dupixent growth versus Alia erosion balance. Dupixent acceleration re-rates. I'm going to read through for Bib. Yeah, Bib is very similar. Strangles for Regeneron. So we have the 850 call, 15% out of the money up, cheap contracts, 108 volume over open interest. These are probably sold. And the put side definitely looks stronger for Reagan or Regeneron, 700p, much closer to the money. $13 was the last price traded there in the contract, so pricey, which tells you they're probably purchased or bought. Volume doesn't exceed open interest, but I think Reagan or Regeneron looks down. Just don't know if it has a huge down move in it, but for what it's worth, the 700p is popping up, which is interesting. I'm going to fade all of these. Okay, and there's good ones for tomorrow. SoFi, we'll look at SoFi really quick, but cheap share price, bad EL score, 2 moves over 10% in the last 2 years. Really bad. It has beat all 4 quarters of 2025 with strong upside surprises. So really good numbers. 35% year-over-year growth estimated for this one, driven by financial services and tech platform segments. Member growth and net interest margin are the key metrics, though. FinTech bank turnaround confirmation, 4-quarter beat streak with strong surprise. Member growth acceleration re-rates it. Typically moves 6 to 10%, although keep in mind only a 10% move twice in the last 2 years. SoFi has a really big share float, so 1.3 billion shares. That's why it's hard for it to move the price. 19 call is getting attention, very close to the current share price. Lots of volume, 25,000 contracts. That's one of the highest volume numbers we've seen today. 18p getting attention to the downside. Both of these are very similar to me. I think it just looks like a tug of war. I'd probably fade SoFi. If you want to trade it, then wait till tomorrow and trade it for the IV crush. All right, let's do this. We had TER. Let's look at TER in Unusual Whales. What did I just type in? TER. Let's look at this. We had the 420 and I always love a 420 call, 300p. If we want to look at the 300p, where is that volume coming from? Is it bought or sold? Come on, you can't go slow now. The 300p is bought, although not a ton. I mean, 87,000 today. That candle is 31K. What was the 420? The 420 call was the other one to the upside. The 420 is sold. Well, there's a mix, bought and sold. I think this gives you a good indicator to fade TER or TER. Yeah, I don't want to look at it anymore. So that's probably a tug of war, but I need to be fully convinced. I don't want to just guess. As a result, I'm a very conservative trader, but it is what it is. Let's look at LRNs. We had LRN strangles that we had for that. Will pop up any second, hopefully. LRN. Can't remember what we said looked better for LRN. 75p is getting attention, and the 120 call. The 120 call definitely looks sold. Oh, of course it's a no side. So we had 4,000 contracts at no side. That was like April 15th or so. And they've been on the open interest since. So they're probably bought, if I had to guess. 138. Yeah, it's about the same price now. I mean, it's cheap. They're cheaper today. That's weird. 120 call, hard to say exactly what's going on there. The 90p was the downside. 90p has a ton of bot volume. But there is some on the bid. Although I don't think there's as much on the bid as there is on the ask. So LRN, yeah, I think the 90p looks, whoa, it said 75p. Did I even have the 75p here? Why don't I have the 75p here? What are you doing, Unusual Whales? Downside definitely looks better for LRN. I don't know why I can only see the 90 strike here. I'm going to blame that on Unusual Whales, though. Anyways, LRN I definitely think looks down. FFIV, was this one that we wanted to look at? I don't think so. No. All right, what were the ones for tomorrow? Wing. Let's look at Wing really quick. 210 and the 160. We got 6 minutes. 210 is bought for sure. What is going on? Who's wrong? Is the website wrong or is Unusual Whales wrong? Who is wrong? Is it like that on the app? No, on the app I can see all of them. On the app, okay, yeah, the 160 is all in the bid for wing. Why? What is going on here? What is happening? It's making me not feel good about trading any of these. Wing looks like call side, looks like upside. Upside for sure on wing. Is there any bought in like these cheaper? What's the 240? Sold in the 240. So up wing, but I don't know if it'll go higher than 230. Yeah, definitely not higher than 230. The 210 call looks like the safest thing for a wing. 210 call and then pair it with something cheap. That's what I would say. Because that 160 is sold. Which is interesting to me because that's a pricey contract. I mean, can't tell exactly, but if they're all filled on the bid, if there's 900 contracts filled on the bid and only 176 on the ask, then likely a lot of that is sold. Wing, I don't know. I don't know if I'll trade anything. Lemonade, we got the 85 and the 54. I'm waiting for Thursday to go heavy in earnings, just between me and you guys. Lemonade at the 85, sold. All the 85 is sold at the bid. Is Lemonade going down, or is it just not making a crazy move up? 70 call for Lemonade, good liquidity in that. Downside 54. What is I'm looking at 15th. Okay. All right. That one was my fault. 54 is on the bid. Maybe it is. Maybe Lemonade is up. 57 being sold. Any in the money calls? Yeah, there's some in the money stuff for Lemonade. All right, Lemonade looks bullish, I think. Just don't think it'll go crazy. But what is the 76? The 76. See, there's a lot. There's still not a lot, but there's still chunky orders on the bid here. The better money is definitely, yeah, but there's some ambitious. There's like this 85 call got hit. Long Starbucks. Starbucks is on my fade list today for sure. Low EL score, not a great history of moves over 10%. I think 105 is pretty far. What? That's 10. It's like $8 or $9 out of the money up, so it's less than 10% ish. I think if you get those, buy some time. I think the May 8th might be your better shot there for Starbucks, but I personally, I'm fading that. I'm not interested in trading Starbucks. Just too low of an EL score, not enough history of moves over 10%, and I just can't stand the company. I think I'm going to fade everything today. I know that sucks to say, but nothing's really standing out. I only have 2 minutes. What did let me see like what the Lemonade calls look like contract chart wise. Let's check this. Let's check the Trump filter. If we got anything in Trump Lottos, nothing really. Lemonade May 1st calls. They're pricey. 69 call. 69. Everything is going slow right now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna fade. I'm gonna fade earnings for today. Sorry, guys. I know Wing is the highest EL score, but I have my eyes set on Thursday personally. I am gonna maybe consider something else though. No. All right, I'm gonna go cash into tomorrow for sure. All right, that's all I got today. Nothing is really standing out to me huge. I want to wait until after FOMC. I think there's just a lot of like chop and just kind of BS before FOMC. But yeah, for what it's worth, as always, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I always love doing this. please consider joining our Discord. If you are new to trading, if you're watching this and you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? None of this makes sense. I will share our Discord link on X or Twitter so that everyone can join. We have very helpful and experienced traders. They do earnings trades. They do everything else from swings to long-term investing. They're very helpful and happy to help and provide guidance. So I'll share that on Twitter so that people can get in. But as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the Earnings Lottos channel, and I will see you all tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll try to get on early because there are a ton to go through and it's really hard for me to go fast. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.